It is the off-road contest of 1.4 kilometer. And now we have the guest speaker, the lady between us two, the judge of this contest. And Miss Guo, will you introduce about the lanes and what are the contents of the testing? And for today, this is the second World Intelligent Driving Challenge. We have added a lot of scenarios. Last year, we have the simulation of the urban roads. And this year, we have a variety of scenarios. The urban city roads, expressway, as well as the off-road contest. And for the expressway, as well as the city road, we will arrange for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. But for the off-road scenario, we have the simulation here today. And this year we have 16 scenarios going up or down the slope, running into the cows or the truck. So we have the total simulation of the actual conditions. And the rain actually adds to the difficulty. According to my understanding, the lane is 1.4 kilometer with 16 scenarios. And here we have this slope going up, and that is one of the difficult items. So we want to test the control of the vehicle while going up and down this slope. So this is also a good test for the control of the vehicle. And for the slope, what are the slope rate? And what are the changes or the adjustments we made to add to the difficulty? And the slope is 30 degrees. In Tianjin, we have very plain land, but in Chongqing, we have this slopey land. And this slope is also an important test for the control of the vehicle. Because we are sharing this information, because we have some time left for the next vehicle to take off, why it takes so much time to prepare. And for the auto-driving cars, it is a system which requires two computers, such as the brain of the vehicle. We need to fire up the computer, and we also need to make sure of some of the marks and indicators. It all takes time. If you have any questions concerning the auto driving, you can ask Miss Guo, because Miss Guo is also a PhD in this field. We have various familiar scenarios, and this slope is just like what we will experience when we come from an underground parking lot. So could you share with us how you will go up this slope? The scenario is very diversified. In addition to slopes, we have the low grounds and barrier. While passing the slope, I think it is a difficulty for the rookie drivers, especially for the drivers with no experience. And in going up the slope, it is very easy to have the flame out, and in the contest we also will simulate the scenario while the vehicle will come past a water field. Okay, so would this be also a part of the contest, and will this all be incorporated? And in the contest, for the auto-driving car, we do not allow a human being inside the car. Now we see a vehicle taking off, so we can see this. The speed is not so fast. It's not so slow. Of the speed of 30 km per hour. To my knowledge, the requirement is more than 20 km per hour. So the first part is rather easy. The vehicle may accelerate. And I want to introduce to you that the car is totally auto-driving without even a person in the car, in the vehicle. We can see that the windshield wiper is working because we have the rain here, and the wheel is turning by itself. And just now we have the scenario of two forward-coming cars meeting each other, and now we have this going upward this slope. So will the vehicle accelerate? The algorithm is different. Some vehicle may accelerate, some vehicle may slow down. And this vehicle particularly, it is rather strong and straightforward with accelerating, going up the slope. According to my knowledge, I think the speed shall be maintained at a stable level to test the skill of this auto-driving car. And for the auto-driving car, we have three categories: perceptive, decision-making, and control. Perceptive is gathering information through sensors. Even Sun Qiang understands what is a sensor. What is a sensor? So we will also introduce the scene of the contest. So now we have a different turning lanes. Previously, we know that in the cities, on the roads, there must be some lines and marks. And at the very beginning, the auto-driving car used the cameras to tell the marks and lines on the road. And now we say that in the off-road scenario, there is no lane line. Therefore, the auto-driving car will use the algorithm to plan out a lane on itself. So we talk about the auto-driving car passing a pond, a small pond. But for even myself, for a person, if I want to pass a deep pond, I will change the automatic catch to the manual mode. But for this vehicle, for the auto-driving car, it has been very fast in passing the pond. And we can admire the intelligence of this vehicle. The auto-driving car needs to tell that there is a pond ahead. This is critical. After telling there is a pond ahead, the auto-driving car needs to have the control whether to slow down or whether to transfer the control mode. So for a small pond, it will test the perceptive, decision-making, and control. We see that auto-driving cars are high-tech, and the auto-driving vehicle will pass through the very narrow lane with a width limit. The auto-driving vehicle need to pass smoothly this narrow lane. So in calculating the width and height, well, the auto-driving vehicle has its own algorithm. We see normally through the camera on the car, the auto-driving vehicle can tell the barrier or block, and the auto-driving car will rely on radar and other wave to tell the width and height requirement. I welcome the netizens to participate in the live program. You can raise a question and we will offer your answers. What do you want to know about auto driving? When we talk about the contest, we see that a lot of vehicles have been shown on the contest. So what leaves the most impression is the car departing from the lane or falling into a pond. So can you share with us the small flashbacks which will leave us the deep impression? So now we talk about artificial intelligence. Will the auto-driving car learn from previous failure, previous experience to have the self-learning? Now we can see there is a ship, a fake ship on the road, and So we test this mode of avoiding the animals on the road. So how the vehicle can perceive such a sheep and achieve the sudden brake. Some of the barrier or block cannot be commonly seen in daily life. We need to, the auto-driving car need to tell the sheep or the cow. If a sheep or a cow are not incorporated into the algorithm, the car will be at a loss, and these blocks, such as cow and sheep, are a test for the perceptive indicator of the auto-driving car. So this is very high-end technology, and for the vehicle, they need to have the sheep or the cow into the system so as to tell the cow and sheep in the front and to make a proper decision. So now we have different lines, and in the rural roads, without such lines, this may pose a challenge to the auto-driving car. Will we see more auto-driving cars in the country roads in the future? Now the vehicle has finished the contest. We can see the result is rather good. The rain did not add too much challenges to these vehicles. The vehicles seem more calmer. So the off-road test is not like the ordinary roads. This off-road scenario may add to the difficulty and challenge to the vehicle. Now we witness the taking off of the next vehicle. And for the auto-driving vehicle, we see the vehicle has started the windshield wiper. So why did it need to start the windshield wiper? For the auto-driving car, it can speed up or slow down. Some vehicles may have the ability to start the wiper for the windshield. Some vehicle may not. So this is a difference in the development stage of the auto-driving car. Some auto-driving car, does it have the ability to connect to the internet or to turn on the air conditioning or to have other functions? For the windshield wiper or the air conditioning, the control unit is now produced abroad. If we want to control the windshield wiper, the control unit need to understand such a order, such a command. Now we have the auto-driving control unit, and this control unit need to give a command to the windshield wiper, and we need to actually renovate such a control unit. As the control unit is now produced abroad, it is rather difficult. That is why we need to develop the independent brands of windshield wipers so as to make it better coordinated with the control unit. And from this part, we can see the importance of core technology for the auto-driving system. Is it the system independently developed, or is this system developed by other people? So now we see that for the auto-driving vehicle, we have a strong brain and the control of the window system, and it is controlled by the IPC. And in the future, we may have an upgraded version of smaller volume and quick response. Now we see the auto-driving vehicle with the quicker response in the future, but now we did not reach that stage. We will come closer to the auto-driving vehicle. Now the vehicle started. it stops to make preparation before taking off. The time is longer because now the rain is heavier and the road condition is worse. The sensing process is much more difficult, and for the windshield wiper, I say there is a radar sensor and then camera as a sensor, and then we have the gravity sensor. And on the vehicle, we may say that the camera is in the vehicle, so the windshield wiper to start it, whether the vehicle wants to remove the obstacles for the camera within the vehicle. Yes, it is. We see the sensor are very common in the human driving vehicles. For instance, we have the automatic navigation or the other functions, and all these have been applying to the auto driving vehicle. So what you have mentioned is the driving assistance below the 3rd grade, and up the 3rd grade, the 4th or 5th grade, the auto driving car may have the control unit by the computer system. So now the vehicles we see are at the 4th and 5th level of higher level control, higher level automatic control. Now the contesting vehicle is getting ready for the test. It is entering into the auto driving mode. And for such a vehicle, it has 2 modes. One is auto driving, one is human driving. If there is the risk in auto driving, there is a preset system, a preset program to let the human driver take over. And for the auto driving vehicle, it may represent the future of the technology. And now the speed is high. The vehicle is really fast. While we talk, we see that the vehicle has come to the turning lane, and the speed is roughly 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. It is from the Army Military Transportation Academy, and last year the institute has won the 1st place in the contest. Just now we see an SUV, a normal car, and another one of different brand. So will each vehicle need a individual and unique system, or the system can be applicable to various kinds of vehicles? We previously talked about perceptive and decision-making. Perceptive and decision-making are similar for different vehicles. And we see that different vehicles may only have the influence on the control part. Now the vehicle is coming up the slope. The speed is rather low, but the vehicle succeeded in passing the slope. The vehicle is heavier. We were so worried that it may stop halfway through. We see that the vehicle may be rather heavy because we see that the vehicle just stopped in our eyes. We can see that through comparison, the previous car rushed upward, and for this vehicle, it was rather slow to get up the slope. Therefore, for each institute, each team has a different algorithm. So we talk about the test. Going up the slope, it tests the perceptive. The vehicle need to tell that before it is a slope, and the vehicle need to actually change the control process. Now the vehicle is passing a water pond. Just now we mentioned that the vehicle will resort to a low speed. This is like an experienced driver would do. And for the auto-driving vehicle, it is tested the way the vehicle adds to its experience. And for the pond, the water surface is a reflecting surface, and it has an influence on the radar system. So now we see that there are human beings here to save the vehicle. The vehicle just moved, and we see that the high-quality vehicle may not have the high-quality algorithm, so we need to add and improve the algorithm. And for the rules of this contest, only with human intervention, the mark will be lower by 40 points. So this is a harsh punishment. This vehicle, it has yet to come out of the pond. So is this situation related to the power system or to the weight of the vehicle? It is related to the algorithm, whether the vehicle has recognized the pond as a block. So if the vehicle wants to move, it may transfer to the human mode. If it transfers to the human mode, it will lead to a rather higher cut in the mark. In recent days, we see various situations of the auto-driving vehicle fading on the way. Some of the vehicle may rush off the lane. So these experiences, though they are failure, will be precious experience for the research personnel. So these scenarios, the shifts, cows, and slopes, they are very precious setting for the test of auto-driving vehicle. So we are just by the outside lookers. So the professionals, they may have a better understanding of these cases we have witnessed. So now we offer this platform for the communication and exchange. Now this vehicle has been the top one for the last contest, the contest last year. Last year, the contest was for the city roads, but for this year, the contest is for the off-road scenario. Therefore, different vehicles need to apply and adapt to different situations. And for this year, we have the joint teams of both Chinese and foreign participants. So we can see in the guests, we have foreign ones. And the foreign people, they are willing to share with the Chinese enterprises and Chinese people about the development of auto-driving cars. So the development of auto-driving cars, it is not the business of only universities, it is the business of the institutes, companies, and all the society. So now the process is to passing through a narrow width. So you can see the narrow width is rather narrow. It is even a difficulty for human being. We may even fold our rear mirror to pass such a narrow width. The human driver may even come down the vehicle to check the width. But to pass such a narrow width so smoothly, it actually represents a high level of artificial intelligence. So the vehicle tells the narrow width, and through algorithm, it processes and passes the width so easily. It is rather impressive. We can see for some vehicles, it has 360 degrees of the wheel. It helps human beings to tackle the difficulty of, say, going backward, entering into a parking space, So now we have the auto parking system. It does not require a human driver. Now the process is passing a smog. So smog is a challenge to the laser. And with this smog, we want to test the performance of the laser radar. So it is a challenge for the vehicle. When the vehicle enters into the smog, how the vehicle tells the direction. If human being come into the smog, human being may be at a loss. But for the auto-driving vehicle, if it is installed with the millimeter wave radar, it can tell the outside environment and tell the direction. So that is why the auto-driving vehicle need to be installed with various kinds of radars and sensors, because different sensors have different performance and features. For cameras, camera may have a advantage in telling a certain kind of road condition. And now we have the fake sheep. So the fake sheep has made a great effort because 20 teams need to pass and the sheep need to run for 20 times. Now it is very lucky that none of the vehicle hit this sheep actually. If we say we see the failure of auto-driving car, people may lose confidence, but we should stay optimistic because it is still at the preliminary stage of researching the auto-driving. And for the auto-driving, we have a high bar concerning the quality. So if we have a large quantity production, that means the vehicle has met a rather high standard. Now, the scenario is for a very crowded market. So the market, the bazaar actually cut the difficulty, reduce the difficulty for the auto-driving vehicle because it is not that crowded. And it is most difficult to tell the future movement of a human being, such as the passengers on the market. So that is why we have realized the closed road auto-driving, but in the city, as we have a lot of changes in the passengers' behavior, it is rather difficult for the auto-driving to be realized, to be applied. And for the auto-driving vehicle, it can resort to the neighboring cars or the other cars' performance behavior to make the decision making. Now we will see another vehicle before we have a closer look on the auto-driving vehicle. Why we want to see another vehicle is maybe there may be another incident, another accident, funny story about the auto-driving vehicle. And through the funny story, the failures, we can witness and observe the problems in the development of the auto-driving vehicle. And through improving upon the mistakes, we can be more confident in this industry. And tomorrow we have the contest on the expressway and city roads. And for these contests, they are very close and similar to the actual scenario, actual use of auto-driving vehicle. And that is also a great challenge for the performance and function of the auto-driving vehicle. Will the vehicle change the algorithm, or will it just adjust to the situation? To improve and increase the speed is also an important challenge. On the expressway, we may think it is rather daunting task.
其实您看啊，这个网友有评论了说，
收费站能顺利的停车通过，这也是在高速上对它的一些考验。
其实您看啊，这个网友有评论了说，这个无人车还是一个无人的大脑来操控，可能会有这样的一个差别。那这位网友的话，您是如何来理解？
Tell the difference between
这方面
actually a machine brain and a human brain, or this is also a point of focus about whether we should develop the auto-driving vehicles. The purpose of the vehicles are to help people. The ultimate goal is to help and facilitate people. Therefore, for the planes and trains, they are in a rather simple environment. We have realized auto-driving. But for cars and vehicles, the environment is very complex. So it is a long way to go before we can realize a great volume of production. And for the research, it is also a positive direction for the auto-driving vehicle. As we talk about the auto parking service, the full screen image, it is a great part of driving facilitation. Now we are not at the full stage of auto driving. It's still a long way to go. So we have done some research before. Okay, now we return to the contest scene. Now we see there is a turning lane. You can see that there is no road line. It is very difficult to tell the direction and tell the lane. You can see we have the grassland, and grassland is green and the driving lane is brown. Maybe the auto-driving car can only tell from the different color to tell where the lane is and where the off lane is. So we have seen various vehicles, and the saloon car, the limousine, they have a better performance than the SUV. What are the reasons? Maybe these cars, they have a smaller weight or other reason. So it is very impressive. The fast speed and the maybe this behavior, the fast speed is not so prudent. It may be reckless after passing the pond. So we see why the limousine car, why the cars are better than the SUV. Is it related to the weight, the space, as well as the volume and the sensors? Okay, maybe with higher sensors it can have better recognition. It is also related with the weight, the functions, and other application of the sensors. So we see both limousine and the SUV, the performance are decided by the weight as well as different sensor positions. And previously we talked about the safety issue. You see, we now use the foreign control unit, such as the window system. So do we have any concern about the, say, the blackout of the system, or do we have any precautions? So we not only have one control system in the vehicle, we may have various control units to make up for each other in case of the failure. Now we see that the vehicle is entering into a smog position. And for the smog, it is rather annoying. So you can see the sensor can see through the smog. So this is rather fast to pass through the sand area without any slowing down. Maybe this vehicle is rather radical. The sensor may not be adjusted towards the Earth, the sensor can tell very well what is coming forward on the forward position, but for the on the Earth position, the sensor may not be that competent. That is the reason for the very fast speed. So, for passing a sand pit, if with so high a speed, it is very difficult to pass, or it is very easy to get trapped. Now we may have the flashbacks of the previous cars for the previous eras. Now this contest is named for a challenge, therefore the vehicle witnessed various challenges. The vehicle is now stopping with some of the problem. When passing the sand pit and the pond, maybe there has been some difficulty, some difficulty for the internal structure. We now are not clear about why the vehicle stopped. Previously, radar is not used for cars. Radar are used for the auto-driving airplanes. Therefore, to apply the radar, the laser to the auto-driving cars, it is a challenge, because for vehicles, for cars, it may encounter going up the slope, going down the slope, going through very bad road conditions. So the speed was so fast to pass the pond, and the water may have some damage on the vehicle's internal structure. I know that for the soil road, maybe it is also a difficulty for the auto-driving vehicle, because the soil is very slippery, especially for high speed. That is a rather high difficulty. And now the vehicle restarted. Now we can tell that as the car is still moving, the problem with the system or with the machine is not so severe. Now we still have the fake sheep here. When the people is dragging the sheep, and upon seeing the people, the car actually has started to slow down. We see the block, the barrier is rather obvious. Maybe there are some hidden and not so obvious block, such as a electricity line or other line. Will this not so obvious block be still a difficulty to the auto-driving vehicle? For instance, previously the Tesla has an accident because it has misjudged the incoming truck as not a block, therefore the accident happened. Now we can see the vehicle has finished the contest. Some imperfection happened, and now we will come closer to witness this vehicle. We see that upon seeing the actual performance, I have done some of the studies. We talk about the auto-driving. Auto-driving needs to be smarter than human being, and the being smarter part is to tackle the issue raised by our netizens. First of all, auto-driving car needs to be safe. With many auto vehicles, with smart auto vehicles, we can address the misjudgment or the exhaustion of human drivers. we say the computer never get exhausted. It will help to improve the road safety. We are on the country road. It is rather difficult to step on. And the second advantage of auto vehicle is to tackle the traffic congestion, the traffic jam. Auto driving vehicle can calculate the best route to take. If we combine metadata, the IoT as well as auto driving, we can have all the information and we can resort to the algorithm to choose the best route. For the intelligent and interconnected vehicles, they rely on their own sensors. And now we have the Internet of Cars. And all the cars are connected through the internet to a control center. Therefore, we say the previous car may stop and the following car may know the following car is stopping through the internet. Therefore, we see that for auto driving car, it has the hidden concerns such as the information security. Do we have the concerns over the stolen information or the hackers? Hackers may lead to the hidden risk for the auto driving vehicle. The security issue is a great challenge to the automobile industry. Previously, the network is a closed one to the vehicle itself, and later on, the network is totally open. The vehicle is the one who has just finished the contest. It is actually built from the Beijing Union University. So would you introduce about this vehicle? Previously, we have done some research, and the vehicle is developed by the Beijing Union University. It is called the Jinlong 1. And we invite the head of the team, Mr. Pan Feng, to share with us this information about the car. Mr. Pan, would you introduce about this one? So today, you can see me score as the judge today. And for this vehicle, we want to see from a closer perspective. And for the auto driving vehicle, it has three kinds of sensors: camera, radar, and the GPS. And for the camera, you can see on the front windshield. And for radar, it is on the top and front of the vehicle. On the top, it is laser radar. It can move around 360 degrees. And on the front, we have the 64-line radar. It has some of the blind points, blind area, and to make up for the front radar, we install the radar on the top. But for the front radar, it has better performance while the car is with a high speed. For GPS, we have a combined navigation system. For the GPS, we have a receiver and we have an antenna. And we have a very high precision to centimeters. Would you introduce some of the funny things in your development? Would you have any accidents or misjudgment? I recall that in, say, 2015, we participated in the contest for the future of auto driving vehicles, and the day before that contest, we witnessed a bug. In the testing, the vehicle hit the roadside, and the tire was busted. And for that night, we changed the tire overnight. And because it was late in the night, we cannot find an opening garage. We just dragged a garage owner out of his bed to fix our car. So for each set of auto-driving vehicle, it may experience various failures before it has a final success. So Ms. Guo and Ms. Han, would you introduce about the auto-driving vehicle and the future of auto-driving in China? What are the next steps? For the auto-driving vehicle, we see a lot of companies now engage in auto-driving. And from the contests, we can see that previously the universities and research institutes, they participate in the contests. They participate for the purpose of research. And for the research personnel, they just change some functions of the vehicle, and the change may be rather rough. And now we have the participation of many enterprises, and the enterprises have done a very fine work, and it is a good thing for the enterprises to participate in such an endeavor. For universities, we are nurturing the future talents in the industry, and we can now see the breakthrough of the core technology of this country. Previously, it is rather difficult to buy a sensor. It was totally imported. It takes months to buy a sensor. And now we have the independently produced and developed sensors with high quality. So now we can see the advancement of technology. Now the auto-driving vehicle is moving forward with great progress. The contest is coming to an end. In tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we have excellent contests. Just as Ms. Guo has mentioned, there will be an expressway contest. So are you worried because the speed will be 60 km per hour? I am rather nervous, but I have the confidence. Would you change some of the data or the algorithm or the sensor setting? We will remain the sensor setting. And in the strategy and rather other indicators, we may have small changes in the total system. So for the 4 vehicles, only yours are a limousine vehicle. So this is the first car we have developed. We cooperate with the BAIC, and the industry offered me such a vehicle. It has good performance, and later on we transform to the electric vehicles to comply with the national policy. And at the very beginning, we used such a vehicle, and we continue to use it. With a long time and experience on the vehicle, it has rather a good performance. So are you worried for the high-speed contest? In our previous experience, we have achieved a good performance for a speed even higher than 60 kilometers. We may even have adapt to higher speed. Tomorrow we have the expressway contest, and then we will have the contest with the roadblocks. And I may want to wish every team of electric vehicles, every team of auto-driving vehicles to make progress, to achieve the breakthrough in the technology. And the rain is heavier, and we end the program now. And welcome to participate in the high-speed contest tomorrow. Thank you.